Alright, students, I'd like to welcome you to the Badlands, Fort Peck Lake. Now, before we start digging, that's why I asked you all here, a little background. About 2 hours ago, we took a scan of this particular parcel of ground. And what we got in return, and don't get too excited, we must first dig. The answers are all in the ground, but it looks like either an infant or possibly a juvenile velociraptor. Of course, we won't know for sure until we start digging. Alright, if everyone has their brushes and trowels. Alright, let's begin. Very carefully. So the first thing we need to do is remove all the rocks from the area. Now the area is approximately so we don't need to clear too much of an area. Just enough so all these rocks are out of our way. Don't worry about too many of the small ones. It's the large ones we're worried about. They get in the way of things. Alright, so we cleared our area. Now we're going to take a large brush and just gently brush the area. And always brush it away from the bones. And look, already so it looks about the size of my fingertip. Looks to be a complete or near complete skull of a velociraptor. Now, there is a possibility that it's a smaller species. Could be Compsognathus, for all we know. That's why it's important to dig. Do your research. Never assume. Here we have a claw. This could be a front claw, or it could be a foot claw. You see right here. Now, it's starting to look like it might possibly be a velociraptor. Infant. Maybe a couple weeks old. could even be a hatchling. And the procedure for this is once we dig it up, we then need to wrap it. Then take it back to the camp. What do we have here? All right. Found a rib cage. Now, according to the scan, this should be a complete skeleton, which is rare. As you know, being students of paleontology, a lot of times we come across incomplete skeletons, sometimes fragments even. So this is big news. We even have the tail. You see this vertebrae here? Looks like it might have been in a scuffle. Some of the vertebrae are broken right around here. I'm going to say more than likely it was bitten on the tail, maybe perhaps by an adult or a predator. And see, being a good paleontologist, you must constantly be aware of these things. To be able to pick it out before you even get it out of the ground. Sometimes when we find rib cages, we can also find fossilized remains of its previous meal. That's not the case this time. All right, let's try the toothbrush. Sometimes toothbrush clears it better. Just fine little strokes, nothing extreme or abrasive. What do we have here? Look at this. Is this what I think it is? It is. this infant died. That's the question. Now, of course, from its stance, when it passed, you can get a brief idea of what this poor creature went through. And if I was a guessing man, I'd propose that this infant was either killed during battle, defending himself or herself, or even a fight with prey. It could be either. Now, this claw is distinct in a few species. Velociraptor, dinosaurs. This happens to be an infant velociraptor. Now, with a little more research, a few more scans of the area, we may even find a nest. It all depends. Yes, you have a question. That's a very good question. How can you tell what's rock and what's bone? If you use your finger and feel rough, smooth, rough, smooth, there's a huge difference in the texture between rock and bone. So when you're out there chiseling and scraping along, always make sure that you know the difference. Speaking of scraping, that's the next lesson. Sometimes in a fossil, you get certain spots where the dirt just won't come out. And that's when the dentist pick comes in handy. Like the eye here, for instance. The nostril. Sometimes you have to just gently pick it out to clear it. And then you can finish up with a smaller brush once you break loose the dirt. There. You can also use the scrapers to remove dirt from around the edges of the skeleton to make it more defined. And again, brush. It's a lot of picking and a lot of brushing. we'll uncover the rest of the skeleton and take it back to camp, where we can closely analyze it and discuss all the possible theories. So let's just keep clearing it. If you have any questions, you can save them for once we're done. Let's get a bigger brush. Here we have the pelvic bone. And what seems to be the other leg. Here we have the other arm. Alright, let's get it wrapped and back to camp. There we go. Alright. Let's get the wrap, get it packed up, and seems to be missing a claw. Right here, you can see where it was. It looks like maybe possibly remnants right here. Let's use the pick. Looks like it might be remnants, or it could just be an indent. That happens. Sometimes the entire section is completely disintegrated and just leaves a slight impression. Alright. I think it's time to pack up and head back to camp. And I will let this job up to all of you. Let me guess. You picked straws and you were it. Since you're my lucky intern today, out of the 8 students that I had, we're going to finish up this project. Can I get you anything to drink? A beer, and water, coffee. I can do coffee. I have some fresh coffee right here. As a matter of fact, let me get us some. I'm a little parched. The dry desert will do that. And breathing in all the dust. Nothing like a hot cup of joe. There you are. You're quite welcome. There we go. Okay. I guess we can get started. If I had any snacks, I'd offer you some. All I have right now is coffee. So, if you don't mind me asking, what made you major in paleontology? I see. Well, I have a theory. There's two types of boys. One who wants to be an astronaut, and the other, the astronomer. Now, the astronaut gets to go to space, see all the planets, but the astronomer gets to study these things, these magnificent things from a place of complete safety. And I see this that you bring up Jurassic Park and Engine and what they did, and John Hammond and all that. I mean, look, you asked if I'd ever go back to the islands and study these dinosaurs. What I have to say is, dinosaurs, real dinosaurs, lived 65 million years ago. Now, what is left of them is fossilized in the rocks. And it is in the rocks that real scientists make real discoveries. Now, what John Hammond and Engine did at Jurassic Park is create genetically engineered theme park monsters. Nothing more and nothing less. I have no interest in returning to those islands. I once told someone, and that's this time I mean it, that there's not a force on earth or heaven that could get me on those islands. You said you got into paleontology because you grew up hearing about all these stories. And it apparently piqued your interest in dinosaurs. But that's the thing that you must understand, is that Engine and John Hammond and Masrani and Those aren't dinosaurs. They're as good as mutants. What we dug up today, that's the real dinosaurs. That's where the real discoveries that actually matter are made. Not at some island resort with mutants with a dinosaur's costume on. Alright, well, that's one book I need to get before we get fully involved here. There's certain things that we're going to need to look up. Because I have a theory about this particular infant. But I can't prove anything yet. So, alright. Are you ready to begin? Alright. Let's finish this up. Alright, so there are some spots where there's still a little dirt. And we can easily clear that out. Just some nice gentle strokes. That's all it takes. Alright. With the rib cage. So, what are some of your theories? I'd love to hear them. That's interesting. So, how can you tell? Okay. Its posture, yes. So what in particular about its posture? I see. Well, couldn't that have just been maybe pain or agony posture? Yeah. Maybe suffocation even. Muscles contracting and stiffening up. Okay. Now that's a very good theory. I still say it died in battle. Well, a lot of reasons. If you take a look at his claw, alright, his feet here, both of them. Alright, so it looks like it was possibly jumping. Claw was out and ready to strike. Same thing with his hands. But we will see. And that's the thing. You never know until you know. Alright, let's get a nice little measurement here. Base of his skull to the tip of his snout. measure that. I forgot to ask, are you marking this down? Okay, very well. In my younger years, I would have remembered it all. But now that I'm getting older, things just aren't the same. Alright. Middle talon. Okay. And that was the right middle talon. Left middle talon is the same. Right. From hip to knee, 2 inches. Pelvis, 2.5. All right. Let's take a closer look here. It's actually quite amazing that the eye socket is intact. I don't think there's a single piece missing. Right. So, nope, neck damage. Every rib seems to be accounted for. Pelvis. You can see how these are related to birds. Pelvis is just like that of a flock of birds. So, it looks to me that the section where he or she was attacked is right here. This section. As you see here, it kind of dips down. Same thing with the underside, which is signs of scar tissue and damage, healing even. So there's a good chance that while he was attacking its prey, something wanted that prey more than our little velociraptor. Like I said, you can see some more of the spinal damage right around this area, particularly 1, 2, 3. only is this claw missing, but this talon seems to be broken, possibly during a scuffle. I don't think it was our doings. No, that's not fresh. I'm surprised there's no bite marks around the legs. Neck seems to be fine. Jaw, make sure the teeth are all there. Yes. Alright. All teeth seem to be present. Let's take ourselves a look at the books, shall we? If my theory is correct, when we go back out to proceed with more scans, we should come across a small bundle of nests. Well, I came up with this because I have experience. I've seen this type of behavior from juveniles and infants more than I can count. Imagine yourself 65 million years ago. You're a juvenile or infant velociraptor, mostly not hanging around the nest, playing, fighting with siblings, waiting for food. And that's what I think was happening here. Sibling rivalry. Just by the bite mark on the tail and all that. Playful biting and whatnot. Now, of course, I could be wrong. But there's only one way to find out. And that's to get back out there and scan. If we find nesting, then there's a good chance. Just so you know about, infant dinosaurs growing up. Not a lot is known, of course. We only know what the fossil record shows us. But, for example, in our situation, the image I'm going to show you is a clutch of youngsters. Here there are 6 young psittacosaurs in a single block, comprising solidified volcanic ash. It seems the babies were running away from the volcanic eruption, but were buried in hot ash and died, just as we see them. So, with this picture, you can kind of get a glimpse at the posture of some of the infants in this cluster. Right, you said about, suffocating or pain. And this is a prime example. Let me read a little bit here. Usually not one for reading too much, but dinosaur babies started out small, and this meant they had to grow up fast in their early years. In many cases, young dinosaurs hung out together in small groups. Best example are from the Psittacosaurus, an early Cretaceous dinosaur from China. Hundreds of examples of young dinosaurs in small groups, maybe 5 to 10 little beasts, usually without any adults, and sometimes all facing in the same direction. So, if we do find nests, these are the things we need to look out for. Simple things, the fine details that sometimes get missed. If you're a real paleontologist, you won't miss a thing. Later on in the years, it took me a little while, but 5 to 10 infants. So that's what we can expect to find. This would be amazing. Let's see here. The fossils come from a village called Legit. And they are preserved in volcanic ash. It seems that volcanoes were erupting from time to time, and the small dinosaurs were caught in the airfall ash. This is hot ash thrown out of the volcano that falls thickly over the landscape. So, if we do find this, right, there's many different things that we need to keep an open mind to. Not just my theory of sibling rivalry, but natural disasters, lack of food, maybe the mother ran off, abandoned the nest. There's many different things, so when we're out there, just keep an open mind. Yes, I have company. Who will be visiting me? Dr. Elisa. What brings you to my tent? It's been years. Can I give you a cup of coffee? Sure. You don't mind if I speak to her in private, do you? I do apologize. No, very well. All right, Bob. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to work with you tomorrow.